Hi and welcome. So this is going to be a session just to look at developing a self-practice. And I suppose a few starting points. This is your time. And so within this time, really do use it to just open up into your body, into the mind, to do whatever is useful for you to do in this practice space. You've kind of carved out the space in your day to get here, in your week. And so now really choose what you put into it to allow your body and your mind to relax, to open, to feel wellness. So just starting, taking a comfortable seat, your hands can rest wherever you like them to. And just letting your eyes shut. And if you take a few breaths, breathing really deeply to flush out the body, also to feel this sense of creating space, fresh space within you. Deep cleansing breath. And then, into this fresh canvas, if you start to find some sort of intention that you'd like to bring into your practice space, it might be something to do with yoga, or else it might be something that's a bit broader in your life, something you'd like to find guidance on or celebrate. And bringing that intention into the heart. And feeling the flow of this moment in your breath as it arrives, passes. Touch that intention. And then, hands coming to the heart. And allowing eyes to open. And we're going to start moving, just waking up the body, stretching it out. And you can do this whatever way you like to do. I'm going to bring hands down to the knees, just resting on the tops of the thighs. From there, I'm going to circle my knees in one direction for a few breaths, and then maybe in the other. Now I'm practicing in the evening, so I'm going to take this at quite a slow pace for myself. But if you are practicing in the morning, then do work a little bit more energetically, dynamically. Remember, it's your space. So a few rounds the opposite way. And then we take this into a few circles into the hips. And a few rounds the opposite direction. And then elbow points together, coming up the center line. Breathing in, opening up into that circle. And we'll take a few rounds the opposite way. And then you give yourself a few moments to do whatever else you kind of feel you need to do, just to open up, to ease into the body. Myself, I'm just going to do a few side stretches. You might want to twist your body a little bit, maybe forward fold, a bit more hip swing, just something, anything, just to wake up the body, get your energy flowing a little bit. And we'll just shake out down into the fingers. So coming up to the top of the mat, I always like to start with a little bit of flow. So we're going to do a few rounds of sun salutation. I'm going to be taking my time here, so I really am enjoying at the moment my own practice, just really feeling the shape, relaxing into it. But do work more energetically if you'd like to. So with an in-breath, just allow your arms to float up. And coming into a forward fold. As I said, I'm going to take a few rounds here in forward fold. Offering the spine. Your version, hands to the knees, to the shins, to the floor. And we're coming back into down dog. If you do prefer to work with plank, then do feel free. In down dog, I'm putting a bit of bend into the knees, lifting up into sit bones. The last breath also, I'm going to straighten out legs. Arriving to all fours and back to heels. And here I'm going to just stretch out the spine. It's a lovely deep stretch, I always find best for a few breaths. Coming into cobra, down to the belly, and lifting up, and a few breaths here. And find your way back into down dog. Again, a bit of bend through the knees. Give me a bit more space to lengthen out into the spine. And then, when you're ready to, you can start to think about coming up onto the balls of the feet, looking forward, breathing out, feet coming forward. Offering your spine, and breathing out, folding. Coming to rise, you anchor down into your feet. And out breath, back to heart. Into another round, opening up your energy field as you breathe in. And folding. Now remember, bend your knees as much as you like or don't want to. Just make sure that you're working within your parameters, what feels good for you. An in-breath, offering spine. An out-breath, folding back to down dog. Come down to all fours when you're ready to. Else you could work with plank here, coming down to your belly, back to heels, and through to cobra. And arriving back and into down dog. And again, I'm going to bend knees, so I get that bit more upward lift into the spine. The last breath or so, I'll straighten up the legs. Up onto the balls of the feet, a bit like a cat about to spring. The out breath coming through to the top of the mat. Offering spine and folding. Coming to rise. And back to heart. And arriving in another round. Into forward fold. Offering spine. Into down dog. All fours. Heels. And through to cobra. And up and into down dog. Now arriving in down dog, we're going to come into a warrior sequence. So bringing your right leg up. And then either stepping up into the stance of warrior, or else just spinning the front foot, the right foot through between the hands. And we'll flip the back foot down. Now anchor your feet, arriving up into warrior one. And then finding your way into warrior two, right arm forward, left arm back. Into reverse warrior, the front palm lifts up. And then when you roll down your front arm, the front knee still bent, you can put your hand on the block here, and your left arm will lift up and over. Now straighten up your front leg, and your left arm will lift up into Trikonasana. Then you can bring your right hand up to the calf, to the shin. Whatever works best for you. And arriving back and into down dog. And onto the left other side, the left leg will float up. Really take your time with each of these transitions. And then you can either step, find your way to standing, or else the left foot flipping through between the hands. And your back foot down. So anchoring your feet down, lifting up into warrior one. So you can feel all the lines in the body here. And really flush the body out with the breath. Flush the breath through the body. Into warrior two, left arm forward, right arm back. Coming into reverse warrior, left arm floats up. And windmill down your left hand either to the block or to the floor, front knee bent, and the right arm coming up and over. Straightening up the front leg, the left hand can come up to the shin or the calf, and the right arm lifts up, taking you into Trikonasana. And you're windmilling your right arm now down, and we're coming back and into down dog. Now you may want to take resting breaths at some point. Do feel free just to put those in. You may want to come into another vinyasa, all fours to heels, and through to cobra, and then back to down dog. Working at your pace, just pausing where it feels useful. And we're going to just walk on the feet, bending knees from one to the other. And we're going to come into that sequence again, but this time flowing with our breath. So right leg lifting up, and walk, or bring it between the hands, back foot down, in breath, lifting up into warrior one, out breath into warrior two, in breath into reverse warrior, and breathe out into the side stretch, right hand down to the floor, left arm up and over. In breath into Trikonasana, straightening up front leg, and out breath, coming back into down dog. Another in breath, the left leg will lift up. We'll swing the left foot through between the hands, or step and walk the feet to the stance for warrior one. Breathe in, lift up. Breathe out into warrior two, left arm forward, right arm back. Breathe in to reverse warrior. And breathe out into the side stretch. Breathe in to Trikonasana, straighten the front leg. And breathe out, you're riding back into down dog. Now just a few moments, if you give yourself 5 breaths on each side, any one of those asanas within that sequence that you would like to work with. So just bringing yourself into that position and working with the side stretch. And we'll take 5 breaths here, whatever one you choose. Warrior one, warrior two, reverse warrior, side stretch, Trikonasana. And right back into down dog in between. Did you find your mind wandering at all? Do you remember your practice intention? You can use that as a focal point to lift the mind along with the breath. Coming to the other side, left leg will float up, bringing it through between hands. Whatever asana you're choosing, you're coming into a few breaths on that side. Right back into down dog. And you can either hang in down dog, maybe take some resting breaths. I'm going to come through another vinyasa. Now, there's no right or wrong way to practice, just really following what your own body is telling you here. We're going to now do a few more standing asanas into a high lunge. So right leg will float up, bringing it through between hands, and your feet are now parallel with the long edge of the mat. You're balanced on the board of the back foot. Now that may be quite enough hands on the floor. Else, as you lift up, you may be happy bringing hands to the hips, or you may want to lift the arms up above the head. We'll take a few breaths here. Coming into a twist, left hand coming down, and right arm will float up to the right arm, up above you. Strong back leg. Right back and into down dog. Onto the other side, left leg floating up. Take your time to bring the foot through between hands, either stand up and adjust it back. Now anchor on the board of that back foot and then the hands on the floor, coming up to the hips. Whoa. For else, bringing the arms up above the head. Remember your practice intention to lighten the mind. The breath to bring lightness into the body. And coming into the twist, right hand down to the mat and your left arm lifting up. And left hand coming down. Now your hands coming over to the big toe side of the front foot. And if you walk your hands round into the centre of your mat, rotating your feet so they're parallel with one another, and you're in a position now for a forward fold, wide legs. So make sure inner edges are parallel of the feet, offering your spine forward, and then folding. You can walk your hands backwards a little bit in between your legs. Now coming up into warrior now, walking your hands forward again. And hands walking forward, if you turn your heels in, your toes pointing out, and bending the knees, you're lifting up. And here, take a big circle with your arms. And bring them down into your heart. I always like to do this a couple of times. This asana is not only working with building strength through legs, foundations, you are working with your hip flexors. Really opening up that inner seam of the thighs. Now a few breaths here. I'm just putting a bit of movement, whatever's useful for you, in goddess. So I'm going to come back into doing a few side stretches. You can move a bit from side to side. Just encourage that opening through the body. The last breath, and lifting up into the legs. Straightening them up, it's always a lovely release that. And rotate your feet back to being parallel. We're coming into a forward fold again, this time interlacing fingers behind the spine. Arms floating over the back. And relaxing your arms down, bring them to the center line between the feet. Left hand on the mat, right hand coming up into the sky, taking you into a twist. Right hand coming down, left hand lifting. Right hand down, right hand lifting. And on to the other side. Now, any of the asanas that we've done now, if you find your way back into down dog, rotate your front foot, hands either sides, front foot, step back into down dog. Any of the asanas, you're going to take a few breaths, just exploring that for a few moments, and really do choose which one maybe you find challenging, which one you were enjoying and you felt there's a little bit more movement to be had within it. I'm actually going to hang down dog with a few breaths. If you're doing something that requires you to do both sides, you swap now onto the other side. And coming into the final breaths there. We're then going to take a few resting breaths, coming down and into chant, either hands out in front of you or else out behind you. Take a few breaths, bringing energy into your practice intention. And then coming up to rise. So let's in the self-practice sequence is some time working on the floor. And a nice starting point is a forward fold. And to start, just to open up the body. I always like to do a few circles so you stretch out, rising back to your heart. And so then when you actually come into the asana, it's almost like you're priming your body to follow that pathway of movement. This time, reach out, horizon, past the toes. And then just letting the hands come to rest wherever they want to rest, on that shins, on the thighs, towards the feet. An in-breath. Whatever you feel is useful to you. But at the moment, I do like to work with a bit of sway from side to side. For yourself today, maybe a bit of stillness. Just really go with what's helping you to open out these parameters for your body, to make this into your practice. And then we ease up into sitting. So now into another kind of seated asana here. And version 1 might be bringing the foot into the thigh, the knee bend out to the side. Another version might be the foot, the knee bending up to the ceiling. That could be another version for a forward fold. Or else it might be bringing the foot out behind you. To take one of those 3 versions, and we breathe in, and we come into forward fold. Just opening up to whatever sensation rises in the body. And coming up into sitting again. And coming onto your other side, whatever version of a seated forward fold you're choosing. Just making strong foundations, root down into your sit bones, lifting up, and then folding. Your light back into sitting again. We come back to a regular forward fold now. Arms floating up. And again, letting the spine hinge forward. Hands coming to rest in either stillness or movement. And in a way, if you're drawn to stillness here, or you're drawn to movement, just have a go at doing the opposite. See how that works. And then finding your way up and into sitting. So into working now with hips a little bit. And we're coming into a butterfly, but your feet are going to be a little distance away from your pelvis. It's a diamond shape. Hands interlaced over the tops of the toes. Breathe in, lift up off of the spine. And then folding the heart forwards towards the mat. Whatever edges you notice here, Just noting then, you may need to just draw back a little bit and then ease down into that edge. Just working within your parameters here, within the body. How much can you relax into that edge? And lighten up. And from here, a little bit more hip work. We're opening out into V. It's really nice to kind of practice that balances all different parts of the body. From your roots to hips, emotions, to flexibility, to strength. Creating balance, ease. So into forward fold here. Then just work maybe this time with whatever is less familiar, whether it's stillness or movement here. Lighten up. Hands walking back in. And we're bringing both legs out in front of you. So now coming into some sort of a back bend. And we are going to come into bridge in a moment. You may want to come straight there. If you want another version and variation, you can circle the arms up above you, plant them behind you, fingers pointing towards yourself, point your toes away. And an in-breath, leaning back on the hands and lifting up. Coming back down and folding forward. And arriving up into sitting. So into bridge, if you were just seeing that version, you're now coming down onto your spine, feet to hips width apart from one another. We're just kind of, you've got different versions here. You could bring your arms up and over the head. Else you may want to just have the hands either sides of the body. Then you're lifting up the pelvis, and you can interlace fingers underneath the spine. Open up your hands, you've got them underneath you and you're lowering down. We're coming to another round. So if you're coming to the version of bridge with hands underneath the spine, interlace your fingers the opposite way. Condition your shoulders underneath you. Moving the hands and bringing the spine down. Now starting to ease out. I'm going to do a few circles on the base of the spine. You might just want to rock from side to side. And I always think it's nice to kind of end here with some sort of twisting. Really helps to bring out tension from the spine. So I'm bringing hands into an L shape. You could also bring them into a C shape above you. And then I'm just going to come into an easy twist, dropping knees over to one side, my gaze to the other arm. Knees coming up to the center line and come over to the other side. Bringing your knees back up again. Now you've got a few moments. If you want to do anything else before you come into lying down, then do feel free to do so. But otherwise, if you're ready to come into Shavasana, then coming into lying down. And arriving in Shavasana, just make any last adjustments to find balance and symmetry through the body. And feeling each breath cleansing this inner canvas of consciousness. Each new breath arriving with no past, no imprint. Feeling your body as it is, the present as it is. And you may want to stay in Shavasana for a while longer. If you want to carry on with the rest of your day, and finding your way into awareness of your surroundings, and taking your time to move onto the side of the body. From there to find your way up into sitting. From sitting, taking a comfortable seat, allowing eyes to shut, feeling the flow of your breath. And welcoming in your practice intention into your heart, your mind, physical body. Acknowledging this intention, celebrating this intention. And to this flow of intention guiding you, bringing hands together, bowing forwards to greet South. And coming up, letting go of the practice.